Melissa Mohr, Holy. Asterisk T, A Brief History of Swearing. Dive into the riveting world of swearing as we explore Holy. Asterisk T, A Brief History of Swearing by Melissa Mohr. This summary takes you on an intriguing journey, from ancient Roman graffiti to the modern-day usage of expletives. Along the way, uncover the transformation of society's stance on swearing, the power of oaths, and the ever-shifting boundaries of what is deemed offensive. Get ready to demystify the complex and fascinating world of forbidden language, with a focus on shedding light on how and why certain words became curse words.
Obscenities in ancient Rome. The Romans had their unique take on sex and gender, which dictated their worst obscenities. Sex was viewed as either active or passive, so accusing a man of having a passive role in a sexual act was highly offensive. Cunnilingus was the most derogatory insult a man could receive in Roman times. The Romans believed that being penetrated was a sign of femininity, so a man who performed cunnilingus was emasculated and shamed. This cultural norm explains why penetrating someone was considered desirable, and being penetrated was not. The importance of oaths. The Old Testament highlights the significance of oaths as a promise made in the eyes of God. Swearing by God catches his attention, making him a witness to the speaker's statement, and ensuring the validity of the person's word. The use of oaths was vital for the smooth operation of society and allowed for deals and agreements to go forward. However, as oaths relate to God, they must only be used for matters of great importance and taken very seriously. False oaths dishonor God and reduce his omnipotent powers, making such expressions an offense to him. As such, the third commandment warns against taking God's name in vain and turning an oath into an expletive. The use of oaths in the Old Testament provides insight into the cultural and societal values of the time. Regulation of language in the New Testament. The New Testament emphasizes the need to regulate language, forbidding vulgar language and even euphemisms. Jesus warns that every word spoken will be accountable on Judgment Day and that language without positive effects is a distraction. The New Testament differentiates between unnecessary words and vulgar language that compels people to do bad things. The apostles believed that vulgar language leads to sinful thoughts and actions, and Christians should not only avoid immoral deeds but also refrain from uttering words that evoke impure thoughts. Medieval curses and swearing. The use of curse words and swearing in medieval times was quite different from modern times. While words relating to the body and bodily functions were commonly used and not considered obscene, vain and false swearing had the power to shock and offend. Innocence or guilt could be proven through oaths, making false swearing the ultimate sin. The rise of obscenities and the fall of oaths. With the rise of Protestantism, oaths lost their efficacy and swearing shifted away from the holy and toward the obscene. The fall of feudalism and the rise of capitalism also contributed to this shift, as oaths were no longer necessary to maintain networks. The increase in physical privacy erected figurative walls between people and caused them embarrassment at the mention of bodily functions. Interestingly, such instances were only deemed embarrassing if they involved people of equal or superior social status. The 16th century saw the rise of privies, which were small rooms to leave a surreverence, a euphemism for turd. This change in culture made obscenities even more powerful than in the Middle Ages. The Victorian era and the origins of euphemism. During the 19th century in Britain, the growing middle and lower classes developed a more refined language driven by deep-seated shame surrounding bodily functions. To steer clear of direct language in speech and writing, Latinized words like defecate and expectorate were used instead of shit and spit. Moreover, refined language became associated with upper-class status, while direct language was connected with the lower and uneducated class. Any hint of taboo subjects could cause a major misstep in polite conversation, leading to the adoption of euphemized language like limb and lower extremity. Behind the origins of swear words. The Victorian era saw the emergence of swear words that were used not for their literal meaning but to assert emotional power. Words like bugger and bloody became popular, and even though they were not allowed in print, they were still widely spoken. The literal meaning of bugger faded over time, and it transformed into a less offensive way of saying fuck. Bloody was used as an intensifier that skirted its literal meaning. Even fuck started assuming its modern-day usage in 1790 when a Virginian judge used it in a poem. The emergence of these swear words suggests that people used them to assert their emotions and to express themselves in a repressed society. The power of words. During the First and Second World Wars, swearing was common in the armed forces. Sexual themes in media have become less taboo, resulting in frequent use of sexual language. However, racial slurs have become more prominent and hurtful. The N-word is considered a fighting word that provokes anger and violence. The power of words should not be underestimated as they can breach the peace and incite violence.
Having traversed holy. *T, a brief history of swearing, you've discovered the intriguing history and evolution of swear words and obscenities. From their roots in ancient Rome and the Old Testament to their usage in medieval times, we've seen how certain words have gained, lost, or changed their offensiveness. With the rise of capitalism, privacy, and industrialization, society's views on swearing continued to shift. Moving into the Victorian era and two world wars, modern-day swear words emerged with new meanings and intensities. As we move further into the 21st century, racial slurs have taken center stage as the most provocative expressions, while some cultural taboos are slowly fading away.